standards, I dare you to. What's competition? Come show me proof. This God flow, this Jesus Christ, that say a prayer before I sleep at night. I'm still sinning, don't be offended. My dick intended for a Spanish wife. This chest home and I checkers, niggas ain't playing with you, no action figures. What I'm supposed to do.
Hey guys, this is your boy Dino aka DRP here. Welcome back to another video to my channel. Another video on DRP anime reviews, guys. Yes, and as you can see from the title, I will be reviewing Soul Eater, guys. Yes. Now it took me a while to record this because I had to actually look into some information regarding Soul Eater, because here's the thing, Soul Eater had two different endings, or it went after a certain point in the show. The manga and the anime went in two different ways. So there's two different endings to Soul Eater. There's one ending from the manga and then one ending in the anime. Anime has its own ending. So I had to kind of make sure I understood what I watched and understood both endings before I go ahead and talk about what I think about it. So if I do talk a bit too much into this review, please do forgive me, but I want to make sure I try to cover everything I can. But yeah, as always, you guys know how this works. As usual, I'm going to be splitting this review up in 5 categories. So it'll be story, characters, art, animation, sound, and enjoyment. And then after that, I give an overall score. So 5 categories and then an overall score at the end of this video to give a score out of 10 for this anime. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it, guys. So as you can see from the first category, we're going to be talking about the story, guys. Now, if you want me to put it short and sweet, it's basically about human weapons and their student technicians. Now, they're called Meisters, so their human weapons are basically human beings that they look like normal human beings, but they can change into weapons. And then the people who wield those humans as weapons, when they do change into a weapon, are called Meisters or technicians or something like that. So there's a Meister, and then there's the weapon for that Meister, where they reside in a academy where they have to collect 99 evil human souls. So they need to collect 99 souls of humans that are evil. They need to defeat those evil human beings and then collect the souls, 99 of them, and they have to also collect 1 witch soul. And once they collect all of those 100 souls, being 1 the witch soul and 99 evil human souls, and the weapon consumes it, the reward would be the fact that the technician's weapon, because it's always the weapon that consumes those souls, once they consumed all of those 100 souls, the Meister's weapon will become a death scythe. That will be the reward given by Lord Death himself, who is pretty much running the whole academy. Lord Death, you get what I mean by Lord Death. So yeah, by collecting those 100 souls, you become a death scythe. So that's basically the main goal for all the students in the academy, trying to get 99 evil human souls on 1 witch soul, and bam, consume them, and bam, your weapon becomes a death scythe. So that's pretty much, at least that's what they pan this story out to be within the first few episodes. So the first few episodes, they showcase 3 different characters, which I talk about later on, and they all have different goals, I guess. But within the first few episodes, they do make it look like, okay, you have to collect all of these souls and then it becomes a death scythe. At least that's how people would think the story would go. At least that's what I thought the story would go as well. But it's a lot more deeper than we would expect, because here's the thing, it's not complex, but they do start having more and more events in the story that makes the anime Soul Eater become more watchable, I guess, and interesting. What do I say? When I watched the series, throughout of it, I was invested. I was interested in it. I'm not gonna lie. The action the the fight scenes were always very, very good as well. Like it's not too long-winded, like where there'll be a fight episode that'll be going on for fucking 3-4 episodes. It's not like that in Soul Eater. It's good, it's interesting, it's intense, and it's a fight that ends either within the same episode or by latest the next episode. They don't drag on the fight for too long, that's one of the things I really like about the show. They don't drag on the fights for too long. Plus, it always keeps humor in mind. Humor is a big part that plays in the series, which is a great strength in my opinion. Humor is one of their strong points in this anime. They have a lot of humor. If it gets too intense, they break it with some sort of humor, and that's good. But although it has a lot of humor in the series, it can get serious when it needs to be. It's a show where it has funny stuff in it, but when it comes to the important stuff and it needs to get serious, it gets serious. Which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It needs to be serious at times when it needs to be, and it also is emotional at times when it needs to be. Although it wasn't emotional enough for me to feel like emotional, but I can sense the emotional scenes within it. Certain scenes with interactions with characters, which I'll talk about later on again in the next section. But I have one slight problem with this story, and it's because I would say it's the fact that you'd forget at one point. You would eventually forget. Well, I'm not saying everyone. I would say for some people, you would probably eventually forget what the main characters are initially trying to achieve at the start of the series. So, because like I said at the start of the series, the students are going after 99 evil souls and one witch soul to become a death scythe. But you would eventually forget those main characters are trying to initially achieve that, because the story goes in various different directions, I would say. Obviously, it starts off with that story that I said, but then it starts expanding and then going in different directions and gets more serious, that you would eventually forget that becoming a death scythe was one of the main goals for these students. You'd eventually forget that, and at points you might watch it and you forget the reason why they are doing something. And you'll be like, so let's just say you're watching the series, and then they mention, and later down the road, like so far down the road, they mention the fact that, oh yeah, they need to collect the 99 evils, human souls, and one witch soul to become a death scythe. You'd be like, oh shit, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So it's one of those things where that they make it sound like that becoming a death scythe was like the main goal, but they deviate away from it so much that you'd forget that was their primary goal, if you get what I mean. I wouldn't say that's a bad thing, but considering how they made it look like that's kind of like the storyline, and then eventually hardly mentioning it later down the road, I don't know how to feel about that. Otherwise the story is still pretty good. Like I said, later down the road, they get into various different things where Lord Death, they eventually find out that these evil human souls, who are either known as Kishins, Lord Death actually has a Kishin under the academy, and he is a enemy which Lord Death defeated in the past, and has sealed him under the academy for many years. Eventually Medusa, someone who did work in the academy, eventually betrays them and go ahead and revives the Kishin, and then Kishin comes out. Once the Kishin comes out, what it does is it spreads madness towards the whole world. When it does spread madness, people just go, you get what I mean by madness, people start going crazy, people start dying, it's just chaos around the world. And once the Kishin is revived because of Medusa, the main goal becomes with Lord Death, the main students. When I say the main students, I'm talking about Marka, Blackstar, and Death the Kid, who are like the Meisters for their weapon. Death the Kid is actually Lord Death's son, just to make that clear. And the weapons for each of them, so Marka's weapon is called Soul, or Soul Eater. Blackstar's weapon is called Tsubaki, and Death the Kid's weapons are called Patty and... Damn, I forgot the other girl's name. I'm sorry, but Patty's one of the girls' names because he's got twin guns and both of them are kind of like weapons. But yeah, so yeah, it becomes the main storyline after a certain point becomes to the point where, okay, the main goal is to defeat the Kishin. That becomes the main goal at one point, you know, and that's what happens for the rest of the series. For the rest of the series in the anime, the main goal is to defeat the Kishin. So, which I wasn't opposed to it, but you know, after a while they hardly mention about the whole collecting souls and becoming a death scythe. So yeah, and one of the things I wanted to really talk about quickly. How long has it been on this section? 9 minutes. I don't want to take too long, but one of the things I wanted to talk about is the fact that the anime and the manga went in two different directions in terms of its ending, because I think it's because the anime caught up to the manga a bit too soon, and then, you know, whilst the manga went in one way for its ending, the anime went on another ending. And I watched the anime's ending. I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to think of the ending, because it's kind of at the end. So the end of the anime basically gets to the point where they go after the Kishin. Lord Death loses to the Kishin in the battle, but because, you know, the Kishin tries to attack his son, and obviously Lord Death tries to stop that, and then he gets caught in the fire. And bam, he dies. Well, he doesn't die, he loses the battle. That's the thing, he loses the battle in the anime, but he recovers afterwards. And in the anime, Marka, Blackstar, and Kid go after the Kishin, and they start fighting against him. And there's this huge barrier, so nobody else can get in, so it's just those three students and their weapons against this Kishin. And then it gets to the point where Marka then says, you know, it's not about the madness, it's not me being scared to fight you, it's about the bravery of me standing up against you, or something like that. And the Kishin, not understanding the word bravery, it starts succumbing, it succumbs to fear, I guess. Because here's the thing, the Kishin's job is to basically spread madness, and when someone isn't despaired or mad in his eyes, he gets very angry, he gets worked up about it. And when she, you know, mentions about it's about the bravery that people have to stand up against, you know, people like you, he starts to get scared, basically. He starts having fear of the brave, basically. And then Marka eventually defeats him with a punch, yeah. So that's how they kind of end the anime with, like, once they beat the Kishin, you know, Death the Kid says it doesn't matter that we beat this Kishin, there's always going to be another Kishin that's going to emerge out of this. How are we going to defeat it? And then Marka says, you know, let's not worry about that, because we all know that our bravery will help us defeat whatever Kishin comes around. And that's how they end the anime. And I'll be honest, it felt kind of anticlimactic. I'll be honest with you, because that's not the sort of ending that I had in mind. To be honest, I don't know what I had in mind, but it was definitely not that. So it was a very anticlimactic ending. I'm a bit sad they pulled the it's all about the bravery card on an enemy that's as powerful as the Kishin, and the Kishin starts getting scared because she mentions the word bravery. So what I did was I went and looked into the manga side of the ending. Holy shit, a lot of it were changed. So the Kishin, as in his name is Ashura, Ashura actually in the manga turns out to be Lord Death's elder son, as in Kid's older brother. And I was like, wait, what? What? No way! What? And a lot of changes there. There's a lot of changes there, but the whole bravery part remains the same. So Lord Death loses to Ashura, so that isn't, you know, all that much. He dies. Lord Death dies in the manga, but that's because Death the Kid becomes a Shinigami, and him becoming a Shinigami comes at the cost of Lord Death's own life. So obviously Kid feels despaired by that, and the fact that his father died because of him becoming Shinigami was because Excalibur tells him that. Oh yeah, Excalibur, best character ever. So I wanted to just say that straight. But yeah, obviously Death the Kid becomes a Shinigami. Ashura is still alive, so I think after he defeated Lord Death, he must have escaped. And after Lord Death dies and Kid becomes a Shinigami, everyone, you know, he becomes like the founder of the, you know, academy. Obviously taking his father's place, and everyone's there training and getting stronger until the next fight with Ashura. So yeah, that's how the ending kind of happened in the manga. So the whole bravery part is the same, but a lot of the things that was in the manga felt a lot more intense and interesting. Like, I did not expect the manga to whip out something like saying Ashura is actually Lord Death's son, you know, elder son. That took me off guard. That really took me off guard. So I don't know, it felt like the manga was much more superior with how they execute things and how they ended things compared to the anime. But I'm not saying that the anime storyline was bad. It's just that at certain parts it felt like it could have been better executed, and it could have been better story-wise. I don't know, like the ending just felt anticlimactic to me. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10, guys. I'm gonna give the story a 7 out of 10. It's a good storyline, but like I said, it gets to the point where you'd initially forget what the main characters are trying to achieve in the first place, because a more serious thing approaches, being the Kishin and Ashura escapes out of the academy. So you would eventually forget that they were trying to collect human souls and gain the weapons to transform into a Death Staff. So yeah, 7 out of 10, guys. So without further ado, let's get right into the next section. So the second section of this anime review, guys, we're going to be talking about characters, which in my opinion had one of the strongest points in the series. I feel like the character section had one of the strongest points, or one of the strongest points in the series. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but characters were really good. Like, the characters in the series were really good. I feel like it's one of the series' main strengths, and I feel like a lot of the story comes from a lot of the character development in the series, and it really helps the characters overall. And you know, like the story of these characters, like their background stories, how, you know, how they become stronger, their hardships and whatnot. They, you know, all sorts of development within these characters actually really helps. And on top of that, each character in the series has a ton of ton of personality, you would say. Very unique personalities. like I said, the Meisters, Black Star, who is a very, very, very OP character in the series, but he's very, full of himself. He's kind of like the one who steals the spotlight, who tries to steal the spotlight at least. He's so full of himself, he'll always be like, no one else needs to defeat this person when Black Star's here. You get me? Yeah, he's kind of that kind of guy where he just storms through. He's a very powerful. I would say he's probably one of the strongest Meisters in the academy. I would say he's on par with Lord Death's son, as in Death the Kid. And Death the Kid is a really strong Meister. Considering he's Lord Death's son, you would expect him to be strong, and he is strong. Black Star, however, I would say would be on par with Death the Kid. Or at certain points can be stronger as well. So there's that. Marka, although she's not physically the strongest one out of the lot, she is definitely, in terms of soul resonating or detecting soul wavelengths, she's the best out of it, because I believe she's the only person that can detect wavelengths from like a certain distance, and her soul resonating skills are very good. She's just not strong physically, you know what I mean, but she makes up for it with all the other stuff. Her techniques are very good, since Mother, who is also a Meister, had mastered some techniques. She, being as a daughter, is able to master certain techniques in the series, such as Genie Hunter, Kishin Hunter at the last 3 episodes. And then there's Death the Kid, like I said, Lord Death's son, being strong and whatnot. So all of them has very unique traits in the series, and all of them are very likable in different ways. They all have interactions with their weapons and other Meisters, which makes you like them a lot. Like, there are other characters in the series, such as Krona. Krona is another person in the series that, first of all, becomes... You'd see Krona as a villain, first of all, and then later on, due to certain circumstances, he actually becomes a student of the academy, and he then later becomes an important character in the series, because Krona is actually Medusa's son. And yes, I'm talking about the Medusa who betrays the academy to revive the Kishin from the academy. So, and obviously Krona, being Medusa's son, he does whatever Medusa tells him to do. So, but despite being the child of Medusa treated him like shit. And after his interactions with Marka, he then later on comes to realize what's more important to him in life. How the friends he has around him really helps him no matter what. And even though when he does come to the academy, at one point he actually falls in the trap of Medusa again, and tries and basically betrays them by doing stuff to a certain teacher called Mr. Stein, and causing madness to him by putting like substances into his coffee or tea or something like that. Can't exactly remember. But yeah, there are certain, Krona then reflects on how much mistakes that he's done. He's reflected on it, and how he tries to move on and tries to atone for it by growing, maturing, doing stuff that would eventually make people acknowledge him for his mistakes. You get me? So there's that. There's the teachers in the series that are really good. Lord Death, by the way, is a very funny dude in the series. I love him. Just got his voice, as scary as he sounded before, back in the in flashbacks. Right now, the way he sounds is just absolutely jokes. You can't take him seriously. There's Dr. Stein, or Stein. I just call him Stein. Probably one of my favorite characters in the series because of how badass he is. He's pretty much the Kakashi of Soul Eater. If you guys have watched Naruto and you know how Kakashi is, that's how Stein is. Stein is basically the Kakashi of Soul Eater. Straight up. He's badass, he's clever, he's amazing when it comes to fights. He's very quick thinking. His quick thinking gets him out of situations very well. He's just the top Meister to ever graduate from the academy. So that's enough for me to say about Stein. And there's just so many characters in the series, like I said, that makes things very likable. There's one specific character in the series called Excalibur. Excalibur is actually a sacred sword, which basically just calls everyone a fool. You fool! So there are specific episodes. These are single episodes where it actually focuses on Excalibur, and it's more of a parody episode. It's more of an episode where it's just full of humor. So let's just say the story has a string of episodes where the arc is like super intense and the fights has been super intense as well. They will then, once like the arc is over, they will then break that tension with bringing in an Excalibur episode. I think there's only like 3 Excalibur episodes in the series, but I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the first Excalibur episode of the series, I was like, dude, this guy is fucking annoying. This dude is annoying beyond belief. But as those episodes went on, he grew on me, and he's probably one of the funniest characters in the series. I love him. He's the best character in the series. But yeah, those Excalibur episodes will be sure to make you laugh. It's one of the best things about the series, which is why I feel like when it comes to the whole character area in the series, I feel like it's the series' main strength. It comes with it's the characters. The characters does a great job. Voice acting, very good as well. I haven't watched the subs. I did watch this in English dubs, and most of the characters that dubbed in this series are basically from Fairy Tail. It was easy to notice, like Lucy's voice character, Lana's voice character, Natsu's voice character. It was easy. It's pretty easy to notice them. So yeah, the characters did a great job. Like voice acting, great job. Characters were very likable. Had a lot of character development. People like Krona had so much character development in this series. It's good. It's great. So for that reason, I give this section, I would say this is one of the few sections I'll give a 10 out of 10. I give this series a 10 out of 10 when it comes to characters. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for characters, guys. But that's just me. That it's certain things I said could be subjective. So you don't have to agree with me when I say 10 out of 10. You could give a score doesn't have to be max score. You could give it like 9 or 8 and then say the few flaws it has. But in my opinion, I feel like I give it a 10 out of 10 because it's very likable. They're funny, intense when it needs to be, and such different personalities within them. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the third section, guys. So as for the third section in this character review, we're gonna be in this anime review. We'll be talking about art and animation. Art and animation was absolutely great. It's not your typical anime style you would see. Even though it has some anime style traits in it, it also has some comical traits to it as well. Like, what do I say? The sun and the moon in this series. It actually has a face, like a sun that's grinning, and a moon. Moon that is grinning, and then sun. Sometimes it's either tired, it's drained out, or something. It has those kind of different emotions within the stuff, which was very weird at first. But when I saw it, like the more I saw it, I was like, you know what, this is actually really good. it looks cartoonish, but it's not bad. It fit the series well. It fit well. Like I said, the sun with the big smile on its face, or the moon with a grin, and when it's tired, or when something's dripping out of its mouth, blood dripping out of its mouth and stuff like that. Like when you have a style like that, you can't expect too much detail within this series, but it does it well. Like I said, it's an animation style that I liked. It's not like I didn't like the animation. It was nice. At least it fit the tone of the series, if that's what I'm trying to say. Especially with the characters, how the characters looked. The characters looked absolutely fine as well. The fight scenes, they excelled at. When they needed to put some more detail into the fights, they did, and it looked amazing. You'd notice the difference between a normal episode when they're just goofing about and whatnot, and an episode where they're fighting against a strong opponent, someone like the Kishin, you notice the change in animation or a bit more detail in the animation when they're fighting and whatnot. Like the opening song and the ending song animations, they're also very good as well. Like the opening song animation, it just looked really cool. I enjoyed the creativity. The creativity in the art animation in the series was good. I enjoyed it. I personally enjoyed it. It was different, but I enjoyed it. The characters, the building of the whole academy, how they structured the building of it, the background, and I really liked it. It's very unique. Like, I don't know, I don't see that kind of building every day in my life. So let's be honest. So I feel like people who do watch this anime will probably like it just for how it looks, really. Because like I said, it's not the sort of anime style you would see. It's a bit like comical, cartoonish, but it's not a bad thing. It's suited the series well, and I feel like people would watch it and they'll probably say one of the things they really liked about it is how it looked in terms of appearances. But there could be times where people might not like that style. Not everyone's gonna like that comical, cartoonish style, if you get what I mean. But there are some characters, anime styles to it as well, but it's not like full-on anime style, if you get what I mean. I personally liked it, but like I said, there's going to be times where people might not like it. But yeah, I felt like it was great. I feel like it worked well. It wasn't like very rigid as well. Like, these animations felt fluid. When I say fluid, it means like it went with a nice flow, if you get what I mean. So that, the art animation was done quite well. So for that, I'll give it a 9 out of 10, guys. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I'll probably say people will just enjoy it for their appearance alone. I would say that, yeah. So I feel like art animation was one of the other things that made this, have a pretty strong point in the series. Art animation did a great job in it. So, animators, developers who animated this series, good job, guys, good job. So, without further ado, let's get right into the next section, guys. Alright, guys, so we're going to go into the next section and talk about sound. Now, when I say sound, I'm talking about, the sound of characters, the voice acting, and sound as in the opening song, ending song, background music within fights and whatnot, and just talk about all of that. So, as I've mentioned previously on the character section, voice acting was very good. It was on point. The voice acting suited each character really well. They did a great job at it. I didn't feel like it was like, it's not like I came across a character and I was like, damn, why does he sound so weird or cringy or something like that. I did not have that one bit in the series. The voice acting was chosen really well for each characters, so that was one of the great points I've seen. I would say the opening song to the series was quite good. Like the first opening, there's two opening songs in the series. One is the one opening song in the first half, and then there's the second opening in the second half of the series. The first opening of the series was good. I really liked it. It was memorable, and I liked how it sounded. The second opening, it was alright. I would say the first one is better, but I'm not saying the second one is bad or anything. It's decent. It was decent. That's all I can say. It was decent. So, yeah, I feel like the first opening song of the series was good, but the second opening was okay. But I would say the first one's better. The ending theme songs were also okay. Like it's not like, oh my god, I can't bear to hear this thing or something like that. But it was decent. But it's not good. It's not like, oh, it's amazing, but it's not like, oh, it's shit. No, it's decent. So I would say a bit generic, but that's just me. yeah, but like I said, otherwise, other than that, the background, the background music in certain fights were good. Sound, the voice acting in certain points is good. The emotions that these voice actors give, like the English dubs, the voice actors give, the voice acting was on point. The humor that they make with the voice acting at certain points is good. Like the voice acting part all good. Ending songs, it's okay, decent. Opening song, the first one very good, second one decent. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what to give a score. To be honest, what score to give this? I'll give this a 7 out of 10, guys. I'll give sound a 7 out of 10. It's not like the most amazing thing in the series, but there's some good things to it, and okay things to it. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10, guys. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Okay, nice. Sorry, guys. We are coming to the last section of this series, which is talking about enjoyment. Now, here's the thing. Enjoyment. It's hard sometimes to put a number or score out of 10 when it comes to enjoyment on this specific section because of how subjective it can be. Enjoyment is something that can be very subjective depending on who's reviewing this series. So it's hard to put a number to it, but I'll still do it. At the end of the day, it really comes down to people whether they appreciate the anime and what you're feeling at the time when you're watching this series. It all comes down to that, if you get what I mean. With the things they executed in the anime, I enjoyed this a lot. And here's the thing, this series did focus humor at a lot of points in the series, and I loved the humor. The humor was amazing. If an anime makes me laugh, then it's at a pretty decent level, pretty good level. If an anime makes me laugh, it's hard for me to enjoy something when I'm not having fun or laughing at it and whatnot. There are times where I've watched anime and I'm like, holy shit, this is deep, but I've still enjoyed it. But I enjoy stuff a lot more when I'm laughing along with it, and it feels like I'm experiencing the moment with them when I'm laughing so much with it. So yeah, with me, I feel like I enjoyed this a lot. Like a lot of the things they did has met my conditions of enjoyment when it comes to this series. So with me, when it comes down to enjoyment, I'll give it a 9 out of 10, guys. I'll give this a 9 out of 10. But then, like I said, I feel like it's very subjective. Like, it depends on the person itself. It comes down to that person whether they appreciate the anime or what they feel at the time. So it's really hard to put a score sometimes on the enjoyment category because people totally differ to what I say, so it's really hard to. But like I said, I'll give this a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed it a lot. Like obviously I stopped reacting to anime as a whole due to certain unfortunate events, but from the episodes that you did see me of reacting to Soul Eater, you guys have a pretty good idea of how much I enjoyed the series, especially with the Excalibur episodes. The Excalibur episodes are very, very enjoyable because it was just so jokes. It was just fucking dumb and stupid. That it just makes you laugh. Like, I love that. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure there are people out there who would agree with me, and then people out there who would probably be like, nah, it's not funny, which is totally fine as well. I totally respect that. But anyways, I give it a 9 out of 10, guys. So without further ado, let's get to an overall score in this anime review. Alright, guys, so we have come to the end of we're coming to the end of the anime review. We've basically checked out every single category, every single area in this review, talking about story, talking about characters, talking about art, animation, talking about sound, and then talking about enjoyment. Giving a score to all of them. Now for overall score. For an overall score, I'm just thinking about how to put this. I'm going to give the overall score I'm going to give for this series. I'm going to give this series an 8 out of 10. I'll give this series an 8 out of 10. You guys are probably thinking, why do you gave 10 out of 10 for characters, 9 out of 10 for art, 9 out of 10 for enjoyment. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. When it comes to this series, I feel like the anime could have. I feel like the anime catching up to the manga so soon was probably one of their biggest mistakes. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they caught up to the manga too fast. I think that's probably the reason why they both went in different directions in terms of the ending. Like the manga went for one ending and the anime went on another ending. I don't see any other reason why they would do that in the first place. I feel like the most logical reason is because the anime must have caught up to the canon material on manga, and then they had nothing to look forward to animate, so they just went on their own ending. I feel like if that's the case, I feel like that would be the anime's biggest mistake in doing. They could have probably maybe had a filler arc in the series, or maybe more episodes of Excalibur. Here's the thing, people enjoyed the Excalibur episodes, so you could have put at least a bit more Excalibur episodes, or maybe a nice filler arc, or maybe even put the anime on hiatus and let the manga progress to the point where that you can continue the anime and then use the canon material in the manga to animate it in the anime. I feel like it would have. I feel like the anime would have had a much better reach to people, because from what my subs have told me, my friends from Discord, a lot of people didn't like the ending. A lot of people did not like the anime side of the series, and the ending especially. And I can understand why that's the case. So I feel like if they gave it enough chance, or like paced the anime to the point where they were able to get all the canon material from the manga and then animated it, I feel like this series would have hit much more than it is. I'm not saying it's a bad show. By far, this is by far a bad show. No way. No way is this a bad show. This is a great show. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like by going in a different direction at one point and then ending it differently to the manga, both endings, I was like okay with it, but I felt like the manga ending and the plot twists in the manga was a lot more effective to me than the anime side. I'll be honest. Like I never once would have known that they would make Ashura the eldest son of Lord Death. No way would have known that coming. I was like, holy shit, that's sick. And I was telling my fans, I was telling my subs on Discord, if they did that in the anime, that would have been so fucking hype. And it's kind of disappointing they couldn't, because the logical explanation is that they caught up to the manga too soon and they didn't have any materials to capitalize on. So I feel like that's probably one of the weakest points of the series, in my opinion. With how they ended the series, I can see why people didn't like the anime side of the series as much. And as for that reason, I feel like they had potential, but they could have capitalized on that potential if they paced the anime better to the point where they were able to fully capitalize on the canon material from manga. But unfortunately, they didn't, and for that reason, but yeah, but like I said before, it's a great show. It's definitely amongst one of the better shows that I've watched from all the anime series I've watched on YouTube, or reaction wise. This is probably one of the better series I've watched. So 8 out of 10 overall, guys. 8 out of 10. So yeah, that marks my anime review of this series. Thank you guys so much for watching my review series on Soul Eater today. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Hope you guys found it informative. Hope you guys agree with a lot of the things I've said. if someone hasn't watched this series, I mean, if you watch this video, you'd be spoiled heavily. I do apologize for that. I will put huge spoilers on the title just in case someone hasn't watched Soul Eater and whatnot. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy my video today, be sure to smash the like button, comment and share those good things to see more content of me doing more DRP anime reviews like this in the future. However, if you guys are new to the channel, considering that, subscribe button and join the DRP guild today so you won't miss a single video from my channel, guys. Those gaming videos, or those reaction videos, or with its live streams, or with its more anime review series. So yeah, as always guys, this is your boy Dino signing out, and have a nice day, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next episode guys. So until then, peace.